Hello friends and welcome back to addItem. In this video of our React.js series, we will be creating a project. Yes. So whenever you start learning React.js, you will see on YouTube a lot of YouTube creators have created Todo application with using React.js as a beginner's project. It is a very beginner friendly project and you learn how you can use state and how using state, you can create an actual application with some features. So I wanted to do things a little differently, not very differently. So rather than creating a to-do application, we will create a shopping list manager app, which is almost like a to-do application. We'll have a form field, as you can see on the screen. So let me discuss what we will be creating in this shopping list manager application. So we will have a form, input form, and we will have a button, let's say add. Here the user can provide in whatever, for example, if you are using this shopping list manager application and you want to remember what all items you want to purchase when you go for shopping, so you can use this. You can provide the value over here, let's say soap. When you click on the add button, it gets added, comes over here, soap. Then maybe you want to add another item, let's say shampoo, maybe apples, and so on. And each of these items will have a delete option to delete or to remove this particular item from the shopping list. And they will also have a done button to, mark that, okay, this has been purchased, right? So this is the application that we want to create, okay? So we'll have features like add item to the shopping list. This will be the shopping list. We'll have a function to remove from any item from the shopping list and to mark them done or purchased. So this is what we will be creating in this particular video. This is, like I said, quite similar to the application. So without wasting any time, let's get started. So as you can see on the screen, I have a simple application app component with a heading shopping list manager. And this is how the user interface looks. So let's start by creating the basic user interface that we will be having. I've already written some CSS that we will be using for input and for label, some other stuff. So we will not bother about the CSS for now. Let's just write the code for creating basic input field. Input type is equal to text. Obviously, we'll have a text input field, and let's have a button. Now, this is how generally you will be having a simple, form, right? This is how you create it. Let's just have a class name over here, card, and we have another class, flex apart, to properly position the input field and the button, so it will look nice. This is looking like this. So we have another class that I have defined in CSS. Don't worry about that. Let's use that to btn and purple to give purple color to the button. So that's how the user interface will look. This is the field in which the user will enter whatever shopping item they want to add to the shopping list. And when the user clicks on the add button, the list item is displayed below. Now, if you will see on YouTube, a lot of teachers or creators have mentioned that, okay, you should have two state variables. One should be the entire shopping list. So the shopping list would be, or in case of to-do, like I mentioned, so in case of to-do, there will be a to-do list in which task items will be added. So everyone recommends that, okay, have the shopping list as an array in the state, and have a other, simple item variable stored in the state, which will actually store the shopping item, whatever you want to shop. Let's say you want to shop for soap. So as the user provides the input for soap, this item is updated. And when the add button is clicked, this item is added to the shopping list. Now, this is the right way. You can implement it like this also, but this is not the there are better ways to implement this, because what is the problem with this particular scenario, what I'm mentioning over here? So let me write the code for, basic states that people generally recommend, and then I'll discuss what I'm trying to say. So we will obviously have, for this application, we'll have a state variable shopping list, which will be an array in which, we will hold all the shopping items that the user will add, and then iterate over the shopping list array to showcase or to display all the values over here, right? So let's create a shopping list array, and we'll have a setter function for this. Use state, and we'll initialize it with an empty array. Now you will see a lot of solutions on the internet saying that, okay, have another state variable item. In case of to-do list as well, this is recommended. Set item and have it in the state like maybe an object with some, name or empty field for the name. And in our case, so in case of to-do list, you'll have mark done or some ID for the to-do list item, whatever you want to add in the to-do list. In our case, we want to have purchased, and by default, it should be false because when we add an item to the shopping list, we haven't purchased it yet. We purchase it later on. So this is how people would recommend you to do it. And in case of this input field, they'll say that, okay, have an on change function over here. And whenever the user is adding any value to this input field, update the value of this item. So by the time user has added the complete value, the item will have the updated value. And when the button is clicked on this button click, they'll have another function that will be triggered, which will add this item updated state variable to the shopping list. Now that's one way of doing it, but I would recommend because in this case, whenever the on change is triggered, so as the user is typing in value, every time on change is getting triggered, and as on change is triggered, every time the component is getting re-rendered, which is not a good way to implement an application because there can be more user interface or more JSX elements, very large user interface for this particular application. And we don't want to re-render it over and over again just because, you have handled the item value in state, and as the user types in, with each click of the keyboard, you update the item state variable. So that's not the right way to do it. Rather than what we will do is, we will have a simple form over here, and we will trigger the form submission because that's what is happening over here, right? So when the user clicks on the add button, then only we'll have to add the shopping item to the shopping list. In case of to-do item, into the to-do list, right? So we should, a better approach, I think, as per me, and I, do it like this only. I would create a form, and on submit of this form, I will trigger some function, maybe, add item, right? I add the item to the shopping list. And I will not have this particular item state variable. Obviously, yes, we will have the item just like this only. So the item will look like this. If I have to add a comment over here. So the item will look like this. It will be an object which will have two keys, name and purchased with false and name with, some name of the item. We'll keep this style, but we will not follow the approach of on change and, having another state variable, right? And this will have a simple add button. Here, let's quickly complete this input form. Let's have the name. Let's keep the value of name attribute as name, because then we can directly use the value in this particular object. This is also having the name as the key, right? Don't get confused. Let's add a placeholder to add item to list. Okay. So we have this. We have a button which is showing the text add, and it is type of this button would be submit. Okay. So now we have a form, and we have an input field and a button in this form. And on submit of this form, we are triggering the add item function. So let's create the add item function. I hope that, it's clear why we are not following the state variable approach, and we're just keeping the list in the state variable, and we're not keeping this item what will be added on this input fields, using this input field. We're not using that as a state variable. You'll see in a lot of videos that has been used as a state variable. So that's why I wanted to cover that. Now, the UI looks like this. It got broken a bit. Okay, maybe because we have added a form inside of this div, and this is display flex. So if I move this to form, now it should be fine. Yeah. So now as we will add a item to this particular list, on click of add, this is getting refreshed, and as you can see, the name attribute is getting into the URL, because that's how a normal form submission works. Whenever a form is submitted, it triggers and submits the form value to itself. So that's not what we will be doing. I have covered how we can handle form in a previous video, so you should definitely check that out. It will make your life super easy, because if you have to create a form with multiple fields, form handling is just, you just have to write 4 or 5 lines of code and it's done. So that's what we will be doing over here. The first thing that we have to do is to prevent the form submission, that is the default submission that is happening. That's why we're seeing the page getting reloaded over and over again. Then we'll create a form variable to get the reference to this particular form element. So we get the entire reference, and then we create a form data object, and so form data is an object available in JavaScript. We'll use it, provide it the form that we have got reference of, and it will automatically, get hold of all the values. Now to get all these value in an object form, what we can do is form data object. We can use the object from entries function and can provide it the form data dot entries function. So this particular entries function will give all the entries in the form data that we have created over here. This is the basic default object in JavaScript, and it has a function from entries. So using all these entries, an object will be created. So that's what we are doing over here. If I do console.log and if I do form object, we can see what's happening and if we are getting the value over here or not. So let's add so. We are getting an object over here with key name and value so. So that's great. And that is exactly what, how we want our item to be with a key name and the name over here with another key purchased. So what I will do over here in this addItem function, I will add another key purchased with value false to this form data object. And I'll simply use the set shopping list method to directly update my shopping list and add this into the shopping list. Wow, that is easy, right? So what we will do is we'll access the form data object and add another key to it, purchase, and add the value false to it. And then I use the set shopping list method and I set this value to this. And we are done. Now we have set the mechanism to add values to our shopping list. Now let's create the user interface to see what items are there in the shopping list. Because we have to see all the items and we have to dynamically add all those items over here in the shopping list to display them over here with a cross button to remove that particular item from the shopping list and a done button to mark that purchased, right? So how we can use this shopping list? This is an array of object. How we can use it and display all those value? We will be using the map function, right? So what I'll do over here is, let me just use the shopping list dot map function. Inside of this, I will have a callback. The callback will have a value and an index. And we will be creating a div. Let's provide the div, the class name card, just like we have provided over here, and flex apart too, because I want the list item names to be displayed. Okay, so let's add that later on. Over here, what I can do is var.name. Okay, so because name has the name of the item that we want to purchase. Also, when we iterate over an array, React recommends that whatever you are creating, so we'll have to have return over here. Sorry, I forget it all the time, and this will go inside of this. Yeah, so that's how it will have. The map function will return this. Okay, so React suggests that whatever JSX elements you return from the map function where you iterate over an array, you should mark it, as a unique JSX element. So how we can do that? We can use the key attribute over here. That's recommended. And you can simply have the index over here. So this index will have 0, 1, 2, 3, and this key will help React to uniquely identify all the divs that are created while looping around on this array. So let's see if this is working for us. Okay, we're getting an error. Shopping list.map is not a function. Why? Shopping list is over here. Map value we're getting set shopping list. Okay, so here I think I did something wrong. Here I will have to have the existing shopping list and add the new form data object to that, right? So obviously the existing shopping list will be empty initially, and this is using the destructuring operator. Please watch the videos that I've covered before this one. I've talked about all of these things, how you can access values in an array which is set as a state variable, how you can update values, how you can delete values. Everything has been covered in the previous video, so please do check them out. I think now it should work fine. Let's say so. Yeah, so it's getting added over here. So we are seeing this over here. Let's keep this inside of a span. And let's add some buttons. Let's say button to done. Okay. And we want a button to delete X. So we should have this. This is fine. Now let's, like I said, if we use flex apart, in this flex apart, I have added CSS this display flex, justify content space between. So each of the elements inside of this particular flex apart gets spaced between and they automatically adjust themselves. So that's a good way to style, and you will see it. So yeah, it's looking a bit odd. So what we can do is we can have a span this. We can have both of them inside one span. Now it will be two elements, so space between one span and another span. All of these are sticking together. We can have a simple NBSP space between them for now. So they are a little separated from each other. We can also style them. So like I said, we have created some style. BTN pink, we create it as a pink button, and this will just create it as a gray button. Okay. So this is for deleting, this is for marking it done, this is the new item. I can add more items, let's say eggs, okay, shampoo. So I'm creating my shopping list like this and it is getting created, looks fine. Now it's time to add more functions to it, right? So we have already created the onSubmit add item function, which is, adding items to the shopping list. So let's first set up the mechanism for deleting a list item, shopping list item using this delete button. So what we will do is we'll have an on-click event handler over here, and we'll have, let's name this remove item. So I'll have to have a function over here, remove item, right? And to get the value of the list that we want to remove, so what we can do is we can have a value attribute over here in which we can put this value.name so that we get the name of the shopping item that we want to remove. And we can grab this using the event over here. So what I can do is I can create a variable, let's say remove it. And using the event.target will give me the reference to this button, and .value will give me the name of, the value stored over here. And this value is available in the shopping list array. I can simply iterate over the shopping list using the filter function and I can remove the value. So let's first, console.login to see if we're getting the value or not. Oops. So we're getting soap, that's perfectly fine, eggs and shampoo. So this is working fine. The click event handler is working fine for us. This remove item function is getting triggered, and we're able to fetch the value as well that we have mentioned over here. This is val.name is nothing but that we're showing over here as well, that we're getting from the map function, right? So this val is nothing but the object that is stored in the shopping list, and that object has two fields, name and purchased, right? So we are using the dot operator to access the name, okay? So what we will do over here is we will iterate over the shopping list. So we'll have to create a new list variable. And in this, what we'll do is we iterate over the shopping list using the filter function. We provide a callback function inside of it. Now, how does this filter function works? For the value that you want to keep, you return true. And for the value that you want to remove, you return false. So that's what we will do over here. We are getting val. Now, val is not the value directly, the name. It is the object item. So we can put item over here. Okay. And inside of this, there is a name key that is holding the name that we want to match with this remove it item. So what we will do is we'll do if remove it is equal to item dot name. In that case, that's the value that we want to remove. So we will return false, and else we return true. Okay. Now this new list will have all the updated values, and we'll just call the set shopping list function, provide the new list to it. Yeah, in this case, we don't have to use this because this is completely having all the values. So I think, yeah, that should work. So let's see. Okay, yeah, so that's working. We're able to delete, let's say 6 eggs. That's what we want to bring. And 5 apples. Soap. And if we click on this one, the 5 apples is gone, 6 eggs is gone, soap is gone. So this remove item is working perfectly fine for us, getting triggered when we click on the cross button. So one feature is done. The next one is to mark it done. How we do that? When the user clicks on this done button, we update this purchased value to true. And based on this, we can have some, user interface change over here as well. So to begin with, what we can do is let's just put in the value over here to see if it is changing. So like I said, this shopping list array has value, which is nothing but the item object, and it has name field and the purchased field as well. So let's just display the purchased field as well over here. Now we won't be able to show it like this because this is a Boolean value. So let's do this. Yes. No. So this is just to display purchased or not. And this is just for, initial purpose. We want to see whether this value is getting changed or not. We'll have some other user interface element, maybe, turn the entire background green to display that we have purchased the item, right? So, boom. And we're able to add that, and no means not purchased yet. Okay. So that we are seeing this over here. Now let's do this on done. We'll have another click event handler, and this will mark the item as done. So mark done. Okay. Now let's create this function, const mark done, arrow function style again. We'll have event obviously over here. So in this done also we need the value to know that which item has to be marked done. Okay. So similarly, just like we did over here, we'll have this. So let's then mark it, and we get the value that we, of the item that we want to mark as done in the shopping list. So now what we do is, we will use the map function to iterate over the shopping list. And as we match the value for market, we will access that particular object and change the value for the purchased key. So let's see how we can do that. So shopping list dot map function value and index. Okay. So that's how map function works. What we will do is we'll see if this market is equal to val dot name, because val, the elements stored inside of this array are objects once again, and they have 2 keys, name and purchased. What we will do is we'll say val dot purchased is equal to true. So we set this as true. Okay. And this updated shopping list, so when the complete cycle is done and we mark whatever we want to mark as done, purchased true, we call the set shopping list function, and inside of this we again set this entire value of the shopping list array by destructuring it. Okay. So yeah, I think this should work. We have the mark done. We are iterating, we're updating, and we are setting it. Okay. So let's see. Yes. So it is changing to yes. Awesome. So I think we have completed our application. In this application, so let's change the user interface as well. I think we have a class. Yes, this green class. Let's use this, although we have this pink and purple class as well, but green makes more sense. So what we will do is when this val purchased is true, we will change the background to green. So how we can do that? I think we can have this class name dynamic. So let's just keep this and have an expression over here. So val dot purchased. If this is true, we'll have this as green as well, and if it's not, then we'll have this. So when this is true, we are adding a green class to this default class, and otherwise we're keeping it as a default. So this green will add the background green to this. So let's see if this is working for us. Soap and eggs and banana and cake and. So let's say I purchased cake first. I mark it as done. Okay, nothing is happening. Okay, so what did we do wrong? Okay, so this has to be purchased. This was incorrect over here. And yes, now it is automatically converted into green. So whenever we mark any one of them done, they're displayed with a green background. And this cross is also working. So banana is removed, X is removed. So that's about it for this particular application. We have covered every feature that we wanted to cover. So what we did, just a quick revision for you guys, we created a shopping list state, which is an array, an empty array initially. And this is how we wanted to keep the items. Now, if you want to work on Todo application as well, it will be similarly, created just like we created this application. It will be to-do list array in the state. And the task item would have a name or, completed or not, right? So you can do similarly on these lines, and you can create a to-do application as well. So what we have over here is we created a simple user interface. The user interface has an input field, a submit button, right? And we created a form. So we use the form on submit to add whatever item is added to the shopping list, right? So this add item, we captured the form submission and we updated the shopping list, right? So this is how we captured the form data values. I have talked about this in detail in a previous video, so please do check that out. Then apart from this, what we have over here is we have two more buttons. One is for the done and one is to removing the item from the shopping list. And for both done and cross, we have different on-click event handlers, mark done, remove item. In case of remove item, we are using the filter function to iterate over the array shopping list and remove the item that you want to remove. And in case of mark done, we are using map function to iterate over the shopping list and update the value for the purchased property as true for whatever item that we want to mark as shopped or purchased. And that's about it. This is doing exactly what we want this application to do. I mark it done, it gets done, this is removing, right? So that was about it. I know it was a long video, but we created a small application and this is entirely created using React.js. We have not used much of the JavaScript code in it. Yes, we have used some functions and that is something that we have to, but we didn't go with the document.getElementID stuff that, we used in the first basic number guessing project that we created. So that was very beginner friendly. Now this is a little advanced, and as we move on, we will create more advanced projects. So I hope you followed this and you were able to understand what we did. We created 3 functions to perform different operations. You can make it even better by adding more features to this particular project. For example, you can add a date field to, set that, okay, by this date, you have to get or purchase this particular item, right? So those things, more features can be added to this. Sky's the limit. Do it. Change the user interface, make it even better. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends who are also learning React.js. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do subscribe, press the bell icon so that you get notified whenever I post new videos. Thank you for watching the video till now, till the end. Stay tuned, keep learning, and do keep watching the videos. Thank you so much. See you soon.